Okay, I think we're live now. Awesome, great. All right, hey y'all, it is a Friday around lunchtime. I hope y'all are able to join us today as we talk through websites and where do you start? Like what conversations need to happen, what needs to get done as you're getting ready to start thinking about a new website. So I am Mara, and I'm the website manager here at Ugly Mug Marketing, and I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see what I'm seeing. That might be helpful. All right, perfect. Here we go. So if you can see that little tiny blip there on the picture, that's me, a little bit about myself. I love hiking and everything outdoors. And actually this past it's probably been about 2 months now ago, I was able to go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and I absolutely loved it. If you have any great hiking spots nearby that you think I would love, let me know. All right, let's jump right into websites. Websites as a whole, the power comes from y'all, not from us as we're making it. So the power of a website is completely determined on what the goal of the website is and how that relates to your company. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. As we go through, we want to help you create a tool that's going to bring success to your company. Most websites out there have no goals. They're just there. And that's not really helping you as a company. So you want to make sure that your website is one that is actually reaching goals and making money for your company, no matter how that looks with the goal that you come up with. All right, today we're going to talk about 4 different types of websites, what they are, and how to find the one that best fits your goal. We're going to talk about 5 critical questions that you must ask whenever you are thinking about or talking about designing a new website. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about 13 different questions that you need to ask your web designer before you sign anything. Before you start, 13 questions to ask them. All right, we're going to jump right in and start with the 4 main types of these are like the 4 biggest ones. We're not saying this is all the different kinds, but most websites can fit into these 4 categories. I'm going to go in order of most common to least common. So the most common one out there is the Brochure website. Brochure website, almost, I don't want to give you a number, but a lot of websites out there are Brochure websites. So let me tell you what that is. Just like the thing that's sitting on your shelf or the desk, whenever people come into your office, the thing that they see is a brochure. Tells a little bit about who you are, has some great images or graphs in there. That's what a brochure website is. It's that brief overview of who you are as a company on a website. So the purpose of these is to inform. You want to make sure people know who you are, what you do, and any way that they can get in contact with you. So I have a couple here, a couple designs for y'all to look through that we have done in the past. This one right here is the Cake Barn. And you'll notice that a couple of these are all food related. That's because I love food. And yes, I did just eat lunch, but I'm still hungry. So I apologize ahead of time if I bring that up again. Okay, so the Cake Barn here is a brochure website. So this website tells who they are as a company, where they came from, so that's their story. It shows some examples of cakes that they've made in the gallery. And then the contact page is the way that they are turning bystanders or viewers into the actual friends or clients of the Cake Barn. Hey, Angela. All right, and then the second one on here is Wildwood Pizza. if you're from Central Louisiana, you've probably had their pizza and it's amazing. So just like the other one, made me hungry as I was working on this site, for sure. But even though there are two completely different things, both brochure websites, and they have different styles. So just because it's a brochure website doesn't mean you have to look like somebody else or it has to have the same information. This is who you are as a company, as a brand, shown on your website. And just to prove that point right here, hey Richard, welcome. The Boomerang Ski Bikes website is completely different than the other two that you saw, but it fits their brand, right? It shows the sleek, cool design of what a Boomerang ski bike is on a website form. All right, so the second most popular one is the e-commerce website. With everything that's going on with COVID-19, most small businesses are looking at an e-commerce website option as a way to continue to sell, even though they might have to have their store shut down or they're not allowed to be at full capacity. So an e-commerce is just what it sounds. It's commerce, but online. So you can sell online. So it's a brochure website plus the ability to sell. I'm going to show you a couple of examples right here. Welcome, Teresa. Let us know as we're going through here. If you have any questions, let me know. We want to answer them for you. Just write them in the comments. All right, so John Ward is an example of an e-commerce website. That means it's a brochure website, so it tells who John Ward is, what they do, but it also has the ability to sell products online. And we'll show you a couple of different examples here. Branch Off is another example of this. Branch Off is a different style than John Ward, as you can see right there. Completely different style and different products too, but they do the same thing. They tell who they are, that's the brochure side of things, and then they tell, or they enable sales on the website. And then the last one here I'm going to show you is holiday fried pecans. Depending on where you're from in the country, you say pecans or pecans, not really sure. You get the idea though. It's a completely different style than the other two that you saw, but it's the exact same thing. So it's the brochure side. You're telling people who you are, what you do, and enabling sales. That's the e-commerce website. Now, those first two options are the most common ones out there. Most websites look like those two different styles, but not a lot of websites look like a sales page, or the fourth one that I'm going to tell you about. The sales page is a page that's meant to be long and to keep you reading down the page. In order to do that, you got to control the emotions of the people who are coming to your site, the viewers, so that they stay tuned in and actually follow with you down the whole page as you're going. So the whole purpose of this page is to get somebody invested in who you are. And then at the end of the page, or sometimes it's throughout the page, is to get them interested enough to purchase something or to leave information. Here's an example of that right here. This is our VIP course website page. And if you go look this up, what you'll see is at the beginning, you'll see a video. And then as you go down through the page, you'll see some testimonials. Each of those different sections, so the video section, the testimonial section, there's text sections in there. All of those are used to control the viewer's emotions. So it's telling them who you are, why you should pay attention, and then what the whole purpose of the page is. So the purpose of this page is to get people to sign up for the Facebook VIP course. And if you have any questions about that, let us know and we'll help you out. But the whole point is to keep them invested in the page until they get to the bottom and they're like, yes, I need this for my company. That's what a sales page is. All right, and the last one that we're going to talk about today is the squeeze page. Again, like the sales page, not as common, but very important. So the squeeze page is kind of like a soft buy-in. It's not quite selling people. It's getting them interested enough to leave their information in order to reach out to them in the future. So usually a squeeze page is above the fold. So you'll see on people's laptops or computers, there's a section before you even have to start scrolling. That's above the fold. It's taking it back to the olden times when we had newspapers. That front page of the newspaper, before you open it up, that's called above the fold. That's the most important. That's the headlines. That's what's getting people to actually read more into it. So you put the most important stuff above the fold. And for the squeeze page, usually that's the entire page is above the fold. So you don't have to scroll. You don't have to go anywhere. You can see everything that you need to right when you get on there. And you'll see right here the accountability effect. This is for a download right here, the book. And so you're not selling somebody on it, you're getting them to opt in to get a download. So it's the first step in transitioning casual bystanders or viewers into friends of the company. Super important. The cool part is you can actually use all of these different types cohesively, or you can use one without the others. Again, this goes all the way back to the main goal of the website. If the goal of the website is to make sales, you're going to go with an e-commerce website. Hands down, you need to have that. But if it's to inform somebody of who you are and you're interested in getting their information, you might use an opt-in page, but then also a brochure website. So they can be used together to be able to complete your goal. But you have to have your goal before you start thinking about which one you're going to do. So now's your time. Which one of those options or which combination of those options is going to fit the goal of your website? How are you going to make this tool work for you? That's the important part, right? Making this work for you so you don't have to work as hard, but also so you can get your money's worth from the website. Okay, we're going to take a little break here. This is my dog, Saber. He is a German Shepherd and a Husky mix. And you can't really tell because in these pictures, he is very serious, but he is probably the sassiest dog out there. Tons of personality. Thankfully, he loves hiking too. So we go on lots of hikes together. But real quickly, if you're just joining us, we're not just going to be talking about my dog, although I might bring him up again. He's really cute. We are talking about websites and where do you even start when you're thinking about a new website for your company. So we just got through the 4 main types of websites, and we're going to jump right into the critical 5 questions that you need to ask for every single page of your website. All right, jumping right in with who's here. Who is coming to your website? Who is the person that needs to be listening? Who is the person that's going to be listening to what you have on your site? This is incredibly important. If your main group of people who is part of who you are is females between the ages of 20 and 55, you're going to design the website to be different than if it was males 20 to 55, or if it was females 18 to 21. You have to think about who your target audience is as you're designing it and before you design it, so that you can have the appropriate content and design for who is coming to your site. Next question, what action should they take? Hey, Mike, welcome. What action should the person take when they are coming to your page? All right, this goes back to the first question I asked, and that is, what is the goal of your website? Okay, that needs to dictate the content on your site and the design of your site. So everything that's on your page needs to correlate somehow to the main goal of what you want your website to do for you. Third question, when should they take it? All right, so this goes back to the goal. when do we want that action to be taken? So remember, you got to remember that online is all hours. So if it's to call you, you got to have some sort, if that's the action you want people to take, you got to have some sort of way for people to leave a message or inform them of your hours so that they can call. Okay, so we got a question from Mike. Would a brochure plus an opt-in combo be a form of landing page? It definitely could. It depends on how much information you want on that brochure or that brochure website to entail. So if it's a lot of information and it's not easily separated, I would suggest adding additional pages instead of just one landing page. But definitely if it's basic information of who you are as a company, what you do, what services you offer, if that's a brief amount of text or images or video, you can definitely include that opt-in at the bottom, and it does only need to be one landing page. Great question, Mike. Thank you. Okay, so we were talking about when should they take the action that you want them to do. Like I mentioned, you've got to remember that virtual is anytime. So it could be midnight and I'm looking through a website, and if the only action I see is to call you, I'm probably not going to do anything. So you got to make sure that what you want them to do is able to be done at all times of the day. Just keep that in mind. All right. Why should they take that action? So this is where you have to use the content that you have to convince somebody, and I'm apologizing about the lighting. There's a skylight right above me, and sometimes the cloud goes over the sun. So just to let you know. Okay, so sometimes you have a brief amount of information that you need to get across to people, and that information that you have should be telling people why they need to take that action. So what's in it for me as a viewer when I come to your website? What do I get out of filling out this form or calling you? Most of the time, people are thinking about themselves, and especially when they're looking at your website, you need to make it crystal clear of what they are getting from this website or from you doing business with you, what that looks like for them. All right. And then the last question here is, how can I convince them to take that action? So kind of like the last question, what's in it for them? How can we use the design or the content that's on the site to, first off, tell them what's in it for them, but then also tell them why they need to take that action, right? So we have to use design elements. Content such as video is super powerful to be able to convince people to actually take the action that you want them to do. All right, guys, that was all 5 critical questions for what you need to have on your website. If you want a copy of those, please let me know, put comments below, let us know, and we can send you that, along with these 13 questions that I'm about to go through. These are incredibly important questions that you need to have answers for before you even think about designing a new website. So we talked about the goal of the website. You have to have one. We talked about the 4 different types of websites that you can have or that you can use together. Those 4 types help determine how that goal is seen and actually accomplished. So we got those 2 done. We talked about the 5 different questions that you have to answer on all the pages of your website. So that's all done. Now we're going to talk about the details, all right? Before you start, these are the questions that you have to ask just to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. Are you ready? 13 different questions. I'm going to take my time through these just to make sure. If you have any questions as we're going through, please stop me and let me know as we go. All right, here we go. First question, what is your design process? So it is incredibly important to know the process that your web designer is going to go through. Here at Ugly Mug Marketing, we use the 3 C's of design. Usually it's contrast, composition, and content, but we flip the order of that because content is what's going to determine how your goal is met. So we start with the content, and that's thinking through what all you need to include on your website, how we want that to look, and that's when we go into the composition of the pages and then the contrast with the design and the content. So make sure you ask them ahead of time, what is your design process, so you know how they are going to go through the main goal of your website and make that into a finished product for you. Ask that question. Second one, can you give me a detailed breakdown of what the website cost includes? So sometimes you'll have a price for something and you don't really know what it's going to include. Or they give you a basic, it's going to include the design of your website. No, you want a very detailed, it's going to include this page, this page, this page, includes this many hours if necessary. It's going to include all of these different options. You want to make sure you know what you're getting yourself into before you sign. So if they don't have an itemized list or they don't have specific what it includes, make sure you get that. Super important. Another important question here is number 3. How will you keep my website secure? This is a very important question, but it's also one that can be taken a lot of different ways. So I'm going to go through, and you've probably heard of all of these big Fortune 500 companies getting hacked. Yes, websites get hacked. There are measures that you can take so that it doesn't happen, or it's less likely to happen. Depending on which content management system you're using, it could be more or less likely. But one thing that you have control of, that you want to make sure, is that you have backups to your website stored so that if something happens, you can go at any time and make sure it's back up right to how it's supposed to be. So we at Ugly Mug Marketing, we make sure to do our best so that this doesn't happen, but you got to have those backups. So no matter where you go, make sure you get a backup. All right. And I did mention a content management system briefly, but that kind of goes right into question number 4 here. What happens when I want to make content changes to my website? Another way you could say that is, do I have to pay to make content changes? Can I make them myself? Is it a flat fee to make content changes? Is it an hourly fee? You want to make sure you have all of those answers before you start. There are so many different varieties of content management systems out there. And so if you're not going to have one built using that, I would suggest talking with whoever is going to build your website and say, we really want a content management system because it's going to help you in the long run. You want to have the ability to change out images or text whenever you need without having to know anything about coding or do I have to pay for this, right? So this is a brief overview. I've gotten rid of a couple things, but this is kind of what our content management system looks like. We give y'all the option or the ability to go in and change any images that you want, any of the text, the titles, the buttons, all of that, so that your website can grow with you as your company grows. So make sure that you have some sort of content management system with your new website so that you have that ability to. All right, question number 5. How many websites have you designed using a content management system? Again, depending on who you go with, they may have a custom content management system, or they may be using a very common one like WordPress or Drupal. Make sure that you know they aren't practicing on you. If they've never done any kind of content management system design before, make sure that you know that ahead of time so that you can work something out in your proposal or your contract, because you don't want them practicing on you. And that kind of leads me into question number 6 as well. Can you provide references from 5 companies' websites that you have built? References are incredibly important, right? I know I've talked about this in several different webinars before, but people don't buy from you. They are more interested in knowing about what other people say about you than what you're saying about yourself. So if you can get what other people are saying about that company, do it. Make sure that you're looking for keywords for the design process or how working with them went. And then always look for the positive ones or the not so positive ones that talk about the goal of the website. You want to know what you're getting yourself into, and reading other people's testimonials is the perfect way to do that. And then similar to that, can you give me a list of at least 15 websites that you've built? So you want to make sure you can see various designs, various different styles, whether it's a brochure website or the squeeze page. You want to see as many different options as you possibly can, so you know that the company that you're choosing is credible. You want to see those options. And as you can see here, these are just 15 examples. If you want to know more, you can check out our website page. It's uglymugmarketing.com/websites. And then on that, you can actually see if there's a button that says see more, and you can see a list of multiple different websites that's what we've built, or you can email me and I will send you a link. Make sure you get those so that you can see. I mean, it also helps with like seeing their style, or how the big companies they work with, little companies they work with. You want to make sure you're getting the most amount of knowledge that you can before you sign with these people. So question number 8, who will own the intellectual property rights to my website? This one is really important. The easy answer is you should definitely own those rights. You should own those at all times. Hey, Lydia, welcome. You want to make sure that if you stop paying somebody, whether it's for if they have like on a monthly plan or something, that they don't take all of your website files. That's how most companies do it, is they charge you a monthly fee. Now, they'll probably charge it for hosting and a couple other things as well. But if you need to cancel, but you still want your website, you should own the rights to your design. Make sure you figure that out before you sign, because if they're not going to let you own those, you might want to look somewhere else. You paid for it, you should own it. Question number 9, is the website portable? Meaning, who can host the website? So you should be able to pick up your website from one hosting company and move it to another, or your IT person, whoever's working on it, should be able to move those files seamlessly. You want to ask this question because it's going to help you make sure that the designers, coders aren't using extinct programming language. You want to make sure that it's up to date, current, so as to not limit yourself. Ask the questions. All right, we're almost done, guys. We are on question number 10. Is the website scalable? So I know I mentioned this earlier, but you want to make sure your website is built for growth. So if you currently offer 2 products, but you want to offer 15 or 20 in the future, you got to have that fit into the website so you can add those as you add those products. Keep in mind that websites can last for years at a time, so make sure that you're thinking years in advance in order to not date your website. All right, question number 11. how long will it take? Sorry, how long will it take to design, code, and implement my website? So you want to, there's both ends of the spectrum here. You want to think about the very, very short timeline versus the very, very long timeline. If it's super short, a good guess is it's probably not a custom built website. It's probably built using some sort of template in order to make the design process go faster. And if it's super, super long, then they might not have a good process in place to be able to make that happen. Hey, Spencer. So keep in mind that, again, timeframes change, but a good time frame is probably somewhere around 8 to 12 weeks. Depending on the size of your website, you want to make sure that you're not taking too long on it, but you're also not doing it too quickly. And I did just mention this, but question number 12 is, will a template be utilized to design my website? If you are paying for a custom built website, this question needs to be answered, because if you're paying for one and you get a template, that's not at all what you're paying for. Custom built website means they are starting from scratch with the design of your website, design, coding, all of that of your website, so that it fits your goal. So if they're using a template to do that, it's not what you paid for in that custom price. You got to make sure you know the answer of that. This is super important. Most website designers out there, if they're not claiming to be, or if they don't say that they create custom websites, they are probably using a template. Templates are good for certain things, but if you want something that's custom for you, make sure you're paying for custom. All right, last question here. Whew, are you ready? Will you be able to design my site to look exactly how I want it to look? The answer should be yes, especially if you're paying for a custom site. And I'm going to show you an example right here. So you'll see on the left-hand side of the page, this is what we call a wireframe. This is a drawing of a website versus on the right-hand side, what it looked like when the design phase was complete. So as you can see on the side, on the left side, we talked through what they wanted the site to include. So what did they want on their homepage that was going to tell who they were, what they do, and kind of be a landing page kind of airplane terminal is what we use to describe. So you don't actually stay at an airport terminal. You go places from that terminal. Kind of what this homepage was built for, to people to go to different sections of the website. And so you can see that on the left side is the beginning, and then the right side was the end of that. And that's exactly what the client wanted. So if you're paying for a custom website, you should have the ability to have your website look exactly how you want it to look. Again, if that's not possible and you're paying for a custom site, it's probably some sort of template. So make sure you ask these questions, because it's super important to know ahead of time what you're getting and the price that you're getting it for. Okay, so I know that was a lot of questions, all very quickly. So now's your time to say, I want those questions. Put it in the comments below, and we will send you, we can send you a couple different things. We can send you the critical 5 questions, as well as all 13 of those questions that you need to ask before you start designing your website. All right, if you have any questions, I know, Mike, we got to your question. If you have any more, please let us know. We're here for y'all, and the way that you can reach us is you can call our office number, 318-290-3430, or you can email me. My email is Mara, it's like Laura, but with an M, MAURA @uglymugmarketing.com. We want to make sure that your websites are reaching your company's goals. And the best way to do that is to answer all of these questions before you even start. So 1, get the goal of your website. 2, make sure that the 4 different types of websites, that you're choosing one that helps you reach that goal. And then 3, make sure you get the answer to all 13 of those questions before you start the process. You need to make sure that you know the expectations and that the expectations that you have versus the expectations that your designer has are the same. All right, I think we have one question that came through. Let me see here. Yes, Mike, that's a great question. I will reach out to you via Facebook so that we can get your email address and get an audit set up for you. We love doing audits. So thank you so much for asking. If anyone else would like a website audit of your company's website, please let us know in the comments and we'll be reaching out to you to set that up. They're super important because it gives you an outside perspective of what your company appears or looks like on the internet. And I haven't been a part of your website, so it kind of is an unbiased, hey, this is what I think the goal of the website is. Is that actually true? So that's the first question I'm going to ask. I'll give you a sneak preview, Mike. The first question is, what is the goal of your website, right? So I'm going to try to figure out, when I do this audit with Mike, is I'm going to try to figure out what the goal of his website is before I get an answer from him just by looking at his website. So that's one thing that y'all can do, is figure out the goal of your website and then make sure your website is actually aligning to that goal. All right. I know it's after lunch or during lunch, so thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me here today. Again, if you have any questions, let us know. Call our office, email me. I'll put it in the comments below so that you have it as well. We're here for y'all. We want to help you and your company succeed. And one of the ways that we can do that is to help prepare you for a website build process. So if you want those 13 questions that you need to ask, make sure you say below so that we can help you get them. All right. Also, if you have any ideas on hiking trails nearby, let me know. Your girl likes to hike. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, y'all.